Have you ever heard of the almost there syndrome? That moment when someone is about to achieve something incredible but gives up because they don't see the results right away? Believe it or not, this happens all the time. People stop one step away from the turn without realizing that they were closer than ever to the change they had been waiting for. But what if I told you that you are exactly at that point right now? That everything that has happened up until now has been preparation, and that the next decision could be what's needed to unlock your life for good? This is no coincidence. You didn't get here by chance. The journey to this moment. Close your eyes for a moment and think, how many times have you felt like you were trying your hardest, but nothing seemed to change? Like you're stuck in a repetitive cycle of challenges and frustrations. The truth is that big changes often come disguised as final challenges. Think of a seed. It grows in the dark, without anyone seeing. And when it finally breaks through the earth, it seems like it came out of nowhere. But in reality, she was already growing all the time. The same happens with you. If your life has felt like an endless struggle, it can only mean one thing. You're about to break the surface. Harvest time is approaching. What's about to happen? Perhaps you have heard of stories of people who left rock bottom and completely transformed their lives. But there is something that many of them have in common: the turning point. There are specific moments when everything realigns, and we are living one of them now. The signs are everywhere. More people are awakening to the power of thought and spirituality. The global market is changing, creating new, unexpected opportunities. Technologies, ideas, and connections have never been so accessible, and most importantly, you are here, ready to receive this message. If this is resonating with you, pay attention. Because in the next few minutes, you will discover why your entire journey here was part of a bigger plan, and how prosperity is one step away from manifesting itself in your life. Why do some people prosper and others don't? If wealth and success were just a matter of hard work, why are there people who work day and night and continue to struggle to survive, while others seem to attract abundance effortlessly? The answer is in mindset and alignment with the right purpose. Studies show that 80% of first-generation millionaires built their wealth not just with effort, but with a profound change in mindset. They began to see prosperity not as a stroke of luck, but as a natural state of being. And guess what? This is affordable for you too. What separates you from this reality? It's not a lack of opportunity. It's not bad luck. It's not the wrong time. It's just alignment with the abundance that is already waiting for you. What's blocking your abundance? Before receiving, you need to understand what has held you back so far. And the truth is that often the biggest blockages are not outside, but inside your own mind. Here are some beliefs that may be limiting your prosperity. Money is hard to make. Only those who are born rich can be rich. If I make a lot of money, something bad might happen. Success is for others, not for me. If any of these phrases have crossed your mind, it's time to free yourself from this invisible prison. Because the reality is the opposite. Wealth is a natural flow, and you just need to align yourself with it to start living it in practice. The Bible says, "As a man thinks, so is he." Proverbs 23:7, and science confirms. Your brain has the ability to reprogram beliefs and create new realities. This means that the life you want is now available, and it all starts with the decision to accept it. The decision is in your hands. Now imagine a moment in the future where you finally look back and realize that all the pieces fit together perfectly, that the challenges made sense, that the right doors have opened, that prosperity that once seemed distant has become part of your daily life. This doesn't just have to be a distant idea. This is already in motion. The question is, are you ready to accept this new reality? If your answer is yes, stay with me. Because now, let's get into the most important part. How to unlock this abundance and start living it today. Share this knowledge with the world. Together, we can spread this message and help more people become free. Subscribe to the channel and send this video to anyone who needs to hear this truth. Write, "I'm ready" in the comments and start aligning your energy with the transformation that is coming. Divine choice. The call to transformation. If you knew that your life was planned for greatness from the beginning, would this change the way you see your challenges? The truth is that not all people are destined to live an ordinary life. Some are chosen for something greater, to impact not only their own lives, but also the lives of those around them. And if you are here now, listening to this message, there is a strong possibility that you are one of those people. This is not just any motivational thought. Since ancient times, God has called certain people for specific purposes. And there is a clear pattern. These people always go through tests before receiving their blessings. Whether it's Moses leading a people to the promised land, Joseph leaving prison to become governor of Egypt, or even modern stories of people who overcame all odds to achieve prosperity, the process is always the same. But why are some people chosen and others not? What moves one person from scarcity to abundance while others remain stuck in the same cycles? The answer is simple. The call exists for everyone, but only those who are ready respond. The calling comes at the most unexpected times. Think about it. Many of humanity's greatest transformations happened when no one expected them. God has always chosen ordinary people for extraordinary missions. In 1505, Martin Luther, then a young law student, was caught in a severe storm. In the midst of despair, he made a promise to God that if he survived, he would dedicate his life to the divine calling. Years later, he would become the leader of the Protestant Reformation, changing the course of the history of the Christian faith. In 1955, an ordinary woman named Rosa Parks in the United States refused to give up her seat on a bus to a white man. This act of courage inspired an entire freedom movement. In 1976, a young man named Steve Jobs, together with his friend Steve Wozniak, started a project in his garage. They didn't know it yet, but they were creating one of the biggest companies in the world, Apple. These people had no wealth, power, or influence at the beginning, but all had a moment of decision, a call that changed their trajectories. Now think about your life. How many times have you felt like there was something bigger in store for you? How many times have you experienced difficulties that seemed to make no sense, only to realize later that it was preparing you for something greater? If you are listening to this message, this is your calling, chosen to prosper. The plan is already designed. The Bible is full of passages that talk about prosperity, purpose, and the right time for everything. One of the best known is in Jeremiah 29:11. "For I am the one who knows the plans I have for you, plans to prosper you and not to harm you, plans to give you hope and a future." This means that your journey has already been written, and it ends in victory. But there is an important detail. Every person called goes through a period of preparation. See some examples. Joseph, sold into slavery by his own brothers, he spent years of injustice before becoming governor of Egypt. But at the right moment, everything changed. David, before he was king, he was just a shepherd. He fought a giant, was chased by enemies, but in the end, he sat on the throne that was already reserved for him. Abraham, God promised him descendants as numerous as the stars in the sky, but he had to wait 25 years until his son Isaac was born. All of these men had something in common. They passed tests before receiving their reward. Why are you going through what you're going through? If you feel like you are facing challenges, know that they are not there to destroy you, but to prepare you. Every chosen person needs to be ready for what's to come. A person who has never dealt with difficulties will not know how to manage abundance. Someone who has never experienced challenges will never have the strength to hold on to their blessings when they arrive. Preparation is part of the process. The problem is that many people give up precisely at the moment when they are about to achieve their transformation. They let fear, doubt, and impatience keep them from what was already prepared for them. But you won't do that. If you've come this far, it's because your story is being written in a different way. You are not just anyone. You have been called. The decision that changes everything. Now, there are two ways to react to this message. You can ignore it, continue living on automatic and hope that one day things will change. Or you can choose to believe, decide that this is your moment, and align yourself with what God has already prepared for you. The choice is in your hands. If you feel this confirmation within you, subscribe to the channel and write "I am chosen" us comments. Declare that you are ready to receive what is already in store for you. It's time to regain your strength and build a new path. Nothing happens by chance, and you're not hearing this by coincidence. Something great is about to happen. Trial and overcoming, the process that precedes prosperity. Imagine a goldsmith refining gold. For the metal to reach its greatest value, it needs to go through fire. The more intense the heat, the more impurities are removed, and the purer it becomes. Life works exactly the same way. Great transformations always come after significant challenges. Every trial is a preparation. Every obstacle carries a purpose, but at the time of the fight, it is difficult to see that. How many times have you asked yourself, why am I going through this? If God has a plan for me, why do the difficulties continue? Am I strong enough to overcome this phase? If these questions have ever crossed your mind, know that you are not alone. Everyone who was called to something great went through tests before receiving their reward. And if there is one certainty in life, it is this: no trial is permanent. The refinement process. Why do trials happen? Many believe that difficulties are signs of failure, but the truth is the opposite. They are signs of growth. Here are some reasons why challenges come before prosperity. Strength building. Without resistance, there is no growth. Just as a muscle needs to be exercised to become stronger, the spirit is strengthened through overcoming. Breaking limitations. It is often in crisis that we discover skills and strengths we didn't know we had. Proof of loyalty. Those who keep faith even in the darkest moments are ready to receive greater blessings. Preparation for responsibility. Abundance requires maturity. God does not hand over something big to someone who is not yet prepared to manage it. These principles can be seen throughout history, both in scripture and in real life. Stories of trial and overcoming, the path to victory. If there is one thing the Bible makes clear, it is that no one achieves a great purpose without going through challenges. Here are some examples of people who have faced extreme tests before receiving their greatest blessings. Job, the man who lost everything but got it back. Double Job was a prosperous and upright man. He had wealth, health, and a blessed family. However, from one day to the next, lost everything. His possessions were destroyed. Their children died. His health was shaken. And to make matters worse, people around him said he should give up. But he kept his faith. And in the end, God not only restored his life, but gave him double what I had before. Job 42:10. Lesson. Perseverance through difficult times brings far greater rewards than temporary loss. Jose, from prison to palace. Jose was a young dreamer, but his journey to prosperity was full of trials. His brothers, driven by envy, sold him into slavery. In Egypt, he was falsely accused and thrown into prison. For years, Jose lived as a prisoner with no prospect of the future. But at the right time, God reversed his luck. He came out of prison to rule Egypt, saving thousands of people from starvation. Genesis 41:41. Lesson: a delay in responding does not mean that God has forgotten about you. Sometimes what seems like a delay is actually a preparation time. David, the shepherd who became king. When David was chosen to be king, he was still just a shepherd. Before reaching the throne, he faced challenges that tested his faith and courage. He fought Goliath when no one believed in him. He fled persecution from King Saul, who was trying to kill him. He had opportunities to give up, but he remained firm in his purpose. When the right time arrived, he received the crown that was already his by destiny. 2 Samuel 5:3. Lesson: the fact that God chose you does not mean that the path will be easy, but if you remain firm, what is in store for you will come. Overcoming beyond the scriptures, real-life stories. It's not just biblical characters who went through tests before achieving great things. Oprah Winfrey. He was born into a poor family and suffered abuse as a child. However, he turned his pain into strength and became one of the most influential women in the world. Howard Schultz, the founder of Starbucks, grew up in a humble home and faced countless rejections before building one of the largest coffee chains on the planet. Nelson Mandela. It happened 27 years in prison before becoming president of South Africa and changing the history of a country. In all of these stories, there is a clear pattern. The greatest victories come after the greatest struggles. You are being prepared for something greater. If you are experiencing difficulties right now, remember, what seems like an obstacle today could be the bridge to your greatest blessing tomorrow. But there is something fundamental you need to understand. How you respond to the ordeal determines what happens after it. If you complain and give up, you miss the opportunity for growth. If you trust the process and keep going, you will come out the other side stronger than ever. God has not forgotten you. He is shaping you for something greater. The choice is in your hands. Now you have two options. Let yourself be shaken by trials and stop halfway. See challenges as signs that something great is coming and move forward with faith. If you choose the second option, write in the comments, "I'm being prepared for something bigger." The awakening continues. If this video opened your eyes to truths you had never seen before, imagine what else you can discover. Subscribe to the channel now and turn on notifications so you don't miss any content that can transform your life. Your story doesn't end here. What is coming will be far greater than anything you have ever experienced. Abundance is on the move, the flow of prosperity. Have you ever noticed how nature never experiences scarcity? Rivers don't try to hold water, they just allow it to flow freely. The ocean never worries if the waves will stop, because it knows they always come back. The sun doesn't skimp on light, it simply shines effortlessly. So why do so many people live in fear of lack? The truth is that abundance has always existed and continues to flow all the time. The problem is not the lack of resources, but the way many people see prosperity. While some live in constant financial struggle, others seem to attract money effortlessly. This doesn't happen by chance. There is a pattern to abundance, and those who understand how it works live in a continual state of prosperity. Wealth, a river that never dries up. Prosperity is not something you earn. It is something that can be accessed. Think of water in a river. If you position yourself in the right flow, it will naturally come to you. But if you insist on going against the current, everything will become more difficult. The same thing happens with money, opportunities, and success. Those who live stuck in a scarcity mentality are always struggling to hold on to what little they have, afraid of losing it. Those who understand the dynamics of abundance allow money to flow, knowing that it always returns multiplied. The Bible confirms this principle in Proverbs 11:24-25. There are those who give generously and see their riches increase. Others withhold what they should give and fall into poverty. The generous will prosper. Whoever offers water to others will also receive water. This shows that prosperity does not come from retention, but from circulation. What you share returns. What you hold on to out of fear is lost. Why do some people never achieve prosperity? Many believe that wealth is a matter of luck, but the truth is that abundance has clear principles. Here they are 3 reasons why some people never experience a steady financial flow. Scarcity thought. Anyone who believes that money is difficult to earn unconsciously blocks opportunities for growth. Fear of change. Many people resist opportunities out of fear of the unknown, always staying in the same place. Lack of generosity. Prosperity isn't just about receiving, it's about circulate resources so the flow never stops. If you want to live in a state of abundance, you need to understand that money is a means, not an end. Abundance exists to be shared. Imagine that you are holding a handful of sand in your hands. The harder you squeeze it, the faster the grains flow through your fingers. But if you open your hands and allow the sand to flow freely, more of it will stay with you. This happens with everything in life: money, love, knowledge, opportunities. 2 Corinthians 9:6 it says, "He who sows sparingly reaps sparingly. He who sows bountifully reaps bountifully," i.e., the more you release, the more you receive. Look at the world's greatest entrepreneurs and philanthropists. Bill Gates, Warren Buffett, Oprah Winfrey, they all practice donation on a large scale. This does not impoverish them. On the contrary, it multiplies their wealth. How to position yourself in the flow of wealth. If abundance is always flowing, what do you need to do to access it? Here they are 3 essential steps. Change your view on money. Wealth is not a privilege for a few, but a state accessible to those who understand its principles. Be willing to release what you have. If you hold everything back out of fear, you close the door to new opportunities. Practice gratitude. Those who recognize what they already have make room to receive even more. Fear tried to extinguish you, but now you know that your light is unbreakable. To continue strengthening yourself and never fall into traps like this again, click the subscribe button and activate the bell. Your liberation has begun. If you want to join this flow, write in the comments, "I align myself with abundance." Wealth is already heading your way. Nature never stops producing. The seasons keep changing. Rivers keep flowing. In the same way, the flow of prosperity never ceases. What determines whether or not you access this wealth is not luck, but the way you decide to position yourself. If you believe you deserve it, open your hands and allow opportunities to flow freely. You will see that money, resources, and blessings will begin to arrive in unexpected ways. Faith and patience, the power of believing before seeing. Have you ever planted a seed and waited to see the first sprout emerge? In the first few days, nothing happens. It seems that the land remains the same, with no sign of change. But beneath the surface, something powerful is happening. Roots are forming, absorbing nutrients, preparing to break through the soil and grow. The same goes for your life. When you pray, believe, and work for something, it can feel like nothing is happening. But the reality is that everything is already moving behind the scenes. What you don't see is that God is already preparing His blessing in perfect time. The problem is that many people give up before the harvest. They get tired of waiting, lose faith in the process, and abandon their dreams at the exact moment they were about to bloom. But you can't be one of those people. Because if there is a secret to achieving the divine promise, it boils down to 2 words: faith and patience. Faith begins before the miracle. True, faith does not wait for proof. She precedes the result. Imagine if Noah had waited to see rain before building the ark. Or if Abraham had given up on the promise of a son because the years were passing by. The Bible teaches us that those who received great rewards were those who they believed before they saw. Hebrews 11:1. Now faith is the assurance of things we hope for and the evidence of things we do not see. This means that you don't need signs to know that abundance is coming. You just need to trust that, at the right time, it will manifest itself. The perfect timing, what seems like time, is just preparation. We often think that God is taking a long time to answer our prayers. But the truth is that He is never late. What seems like a long wait, it is, in fact, a period of preparation. See some examples of people who had to wait, but in the end received something much bigger than they imagined. Abraham and Sarah waited 25 years by the birth of Isaac. What seemed like a delay was, in reality, God preparing descendants that would change generations. Jose spent 13 years in prison and being treated unfairly before becoming governor of Egypt. God did not forget him. He was molding Joseph for something much greater. Moses spent 40 years in the desert before leading his people to the promised land. Each day of waiting was a day of learning and transformation. Lesson: God's time is not our time. What seems like delay is in fact a strategy. Why is waiting part of the process? If God can make everything happen immediately, why does He choose to make us wait? The answer lies in a simple principle: growth and preparation. Time teaches you to trust. When you don't see the immediate answer, you learn to depend on God, not just your circumstances. Waiting strengthens character. People who receive blessings before the right time often do not know how to manage them. The delay filters who is really ready. Only those who keep the faith until the end, they receive what was promised. Patience is not a punishment. It is a strengthening process. James 1:3-4. For you know that the testing of your faith produces perseverance, and perseverance must have complete action so that you may be mature and complete, lacking nothing. The danger of giving up too soon. Many people abandon their dreams because they don't see quick results. If the farmer gave up his plantation prematurely, he would never see the fruits. If the miner stopped digging too soon, he would never find the gold. The same goes for your life. If you stop now, you might be one step away from your miracle. If in doubt, remember this true story. Thomas Edison tried over 10,000 times before inventing the electric light bulb. When asked if he didn't feel frustrated, he replied, "I didn't fail. I just discovered 10,000 ways that don't work." Today, we live in an enlightened world because it didn't give up. Now think about what might be waiting for you. Decide to continue. What to do while waiting. If you are waiting for an answer, a change, or a miracle, here are 3 things you can do. Keep taking action. Faith without action is empty. If you believe that God has something great for you, start preparing to receive it. Maintain gratitude. Instead of complaining about the delay, be grateful for what you already have. This shifts your energy and makes space to receive more. Declare your faith daily. What you say has power. Affirm that your victory is already on the way, even without seeing it. If this resonated with you, don't stop here. Write in the comments, "I trust in God's timing." There is so much more to learn and grow. Click sign up now and discover the next step towards your transformation. The answer is already on its way. Believe God has not forgotten you. What was promised will be fulfilled. The only question is, are you willing to wait for the right time? Remember, the greatest blessings come to those who stand firm until the end. Galatians 6:9. Let us not get tired of doing good, for at the right time we will reap if we do not give up. You have already planted your seed. Now just keep watering because the harvest is coming. The moment of decision, the future is in your hands. Imagine that you are in front of a locked door. On the other side, there is everything you ever dreamed of: stability, growth, prosperity, and a life without limitations. Now, imagine that the key is in your hands. what would you do? Would you stay still, afraid to turn it around, or would you make the decision to open that door and take a definitive step towards the future that is already reserved for you? Because this is the reality. Abundance is accessible, but it is up to you to decide if you are ready to receive it. Everything you need is already in front of you. Along this path, you saw that. Challenges are not punishments, but preparations for something greater. Abundance does not need to be achieved with excessive effort. It flows naturally to those who are in the right alignment. Patience and faith are the bridge between where you are and where you want to be. What seemed distant now makes sense. The time for hesitation is over. Success stories start with a choice. Every person who has achieved something great in life has gone through a moment of decision. David could have fled the confrontation, but faced Goliath and changed history. Joseph could have given himself up to despair in prison, but he kept his faith and became governor of Egypt. Nelson Mandela almost passed 3 decades in prison, but he chose not to give up and led the transformation of a country. What made them winners? It wasn't luck or favorable circumstances. It was the decision to move forward despite the challenges. And now, the same question applies to you. What will be your choice? The last obstacle always seems the biggest. Just before a big change, it's common to feel uncertainty. Fear tries to whisper, what if it doesn't work? What if I'm deluding myself? What if nothing changes? But what if everything changes? If you had stopped in the past, you would never have gotten here. And if you stop now, you'll never know what was waiting for you just ahead. The only way to fail is to give up. Matthew 21:22. And whatever you ask for in prayer, if you believe, you will receive. The first step towards your new cycle. Now you have 2 options. Continue living as before, hoping that something will change on its own. Act with faith, trust in the divine plan, and allow transformation to happen. If you choose the second option, do this now. Subscribe to the channel and write in the comments, I am ready to receive what God has prepared for me. Below, as a symbol that you accept your role in this great transition. Let your energy be counted among the chosen. The time is now. This statement, it is not just a symbolic gesture. It is a confirmation that you accept your new reality and are willing to live what God has already planned, the life you want. It is not in the future. It has already started now.